Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. So come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome. So glad to see you guys here live. Had a little technical difficulties getting on here, but I am here nevertheless. And today we're going to be talking about making money as a middleman in government contracting. So glad to have you guys here. Let me just say as well, happy holidays to you guys. And do me a favor, let me know who you are and where you're joining from and what you offer to the government. So if you could put that in the chat, that would be great. And we're going to get started and we're going to talk about the middleman strategy in government contracting. This is a question I've been getting asked quite often. So I thought it would make sense to talk about it here today live versus doing a recorded video. That way you guys can also ask any questions that you have on that. So definitely make sure you stick around to the end and we'll answer any questions that you have on that subject of the middleman strategy and government contracting. Okay. So we will definitely get to that. So let us know who you are, where you're joining from, what you offer to the government. Hey, Random Flavors. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome. Where are you joining from? Where are you joining from? All right. So just make sure you stay to the end and then you'll know why people are choosing the middleman strategy. So if you're on the fence about it, this will clear up some things for you. Again, if you saw the post about this, it's kind of like the middleman strategy. Well, the sandwich strategy is what I like to call it. So I'm going to show you how it's like a sandwich. And yep, that's for real. It's like a sandwich. And then I'm also going to talk about an alternative that you can use as well. Let me make sure my sign is up. I'm going to talk about an alternative that you can use as well, especially if you're already established and you have a business and you're making money in the private sector and you want to make the move into government contracting. We're going to talk about that as well. So if you have your own expertise that you're bringing to the table, you don't have to change that or anything like that to get into government contracting. But I did want to talk about the middleman strategy. So come on in, let us know who you are, where you're joining from. Hey, Kenneth, and what you offer to the government. And so that'll kind of help us in the training as well, because sometimes I like to, use you guys and what you do as an example so that it'll solidify what I'm talking about and it'll make sense for you guys. So let us know who you are, where you're joining from, and what you offer. Okay. Bologna. I hope I'm saying that right. You're in Canada. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. You're doing construction. Okay. That's definitely up my alley. Naeem, cleaning contractor. Okay, cool. We wrap that up in our construction contract. So that's awesome. Daruni, I hope I'm saying that right. Lawn care. Your name looks so familiar. Were you in one of my programs? I can't remember, but your name looks so familiar. So you do lawn care and tree services in Dallas. Okay, so you're up the road from me. Cool. Neat method. And you're in Illinois and you do janitorial. Okay. So Ken, if you're brand new, okay, welcome. All right. Okay. So, okay. You were in the program. Okay, cool. So great. All right. So let me just tell you briefly who I am. So I never want to take for granted that you guys know who I am. My name is Felicia Dupree, and I am a government contracting strategist. And I have this channel here where I share with you guys all about government contracting as well as business advice. And what we do in the programs that I do offer to you guys is I help you guys go from not knowing where to start, that information overload, and to the point to where you know how to navigate the government RFP process and start securing government contracts. So that's how I help clients. Okay. And so do me a favor. You're watching this video, you're here live, give this video a thumbs up. And then if you are here watching the replay, so this is for my replay viewers. If you come back and watch it later, definitely let me know that you came and watched it and type in replay for me, okay? All right, so let's get into the middleman strategy. And as you're coming in, definitely let us know who you are, where you're joining from, and what you offer. So here's the thing about the middleman strategy. It's kind of like a sandwich. Now, in getting into government contracting, middleman strategy, a lot of times people lean to this strategy because, like Kenneth said, he's new to the space. You may not already have a business set up. You may not have a service that you provide. You don't know of a product that you want to provide. And so you're looking at the middleman strategy to get into government contracting. And more so than not, probably because you've heard the word term thrown around and you're like, okay, I can do that. Right. And so here's how the middleman strategy looks. This is my perspective. Okay. So you have the middleman strategy. So here's what happens. You're the middleman. You're like, okay, I want to get into government contracting, but I don't provide a service. So I'm going to find the opportunities. Right. So you're going to go find an opportunity, meaning you're going to go find agencies that's putting out contracting opportunities, right? So that's like, if you will, the top of the bread, top of the sandwich, right? So you have the top piece of bread, and then you're the middleman, right? And then the bottom piece is the company that you find to do the actual work, right? So it's three pieces, right? The top, the bottom, the middle. So a sandwich. Again, so you have the opportunity from the government. So that's the top layer. And they put those out all the time, on various sites. Each agencies have their own site. They also use sim.gov, and we're talking about at the federal level. Okay. You can still do state, local, county as well. You just go to their website and whatever systems they use to put out contracting opportunities. But you would go find the opportunity. You being the middleman, right? You're finding the opportunity, and then you're finding the company to do the work. So you're kind of like putting the deal together. And as the middleman, you can kind of determine how much you will be involved in the project. A lot of times people feel like as the middleman, you just have to make the sandwich and that's it, which you could. But there's some upsides, downside, pros and cons to that as far as how involved you will be. And so we're going to talk about that. Okay. So as it being a sandwich, does that make sense for you guys? Basically, you would find the opportunity and then you would find the contractor to do the work. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. And then we're going to move on to the upside. So let me know in the chat. Hey, Alvin. Latoya from Chicago. Okay, you're going to provide trucking. Cool, cool. Working on your certification. Okay, great. Frederick from Houston. Hello, hello. You're, let me see, down the road from me, a couple hours. Okay, so it's making sense. Okay, great, great, great. All right, cool. So let's talk about the upside. Now, being the middleman, right? We made the sandwich. Okay. So now what happens is the company performs the work, and then how do you get paid? Right? That's the question, because you're not doing it for free, right? Now you're not doing any other work, but you're not doing the sandwich for free either. So they would probably pay you a fee. It could be a flat fee, or it could be a commission. So it's kind of like a finder's fee if you think about it. And then it just depends on the numbers as to what you're paid. And I mean, you would kind of determine that yourself. So it's kind of like if it was $1 million contract, for example, how much would they pay you? How much would that be worth to you, right? So as you could do a percentage, 5%, 10%. It just depends. All right. So you have options there, or you could just have a flat rate that you're going to charge them, maybe based on the amount they bid on the project. So whatever that number is, you may say, okay, well, if you're going to make $1 million, I want 20,000 or whatever. And then also you just have to be mindful, although they may be bidding $1 million, 5 million for this particular contracting opportunity, they're not keeping 5 million. So that rate that they pay you may very well be based off of profits. So you have to be mindful of that. How are you structuring the deal? Okay. So I'm just throwing that out there just to let you know how that could all take place. So it could be off of the bid amount. It could be off of what the profits are at the end, or what they anticipate the profits being. And then also, when do you get paid? So remember, you're taking time, you're finding these opportunities, you're finding these companies, and you're putting this sandwich together. When do you get paid? What if they don't win the contract? How are you compensated for your time? So those are just some things to think about. Just throwing that out there for you guys, okay? So let's talk about the upside. So the upside is you get paid, right? You make the sandwich, you get paid. You make money off the project that was awarded to that particular company, and you didn't do any of the work. So that's pretty cool if that's your strategy and that's what you want to do, and you're the middleman, right? So quite possible you could do that. Now, in order to be the middleman, let me just say this too. You still have to understand government contracting. You guys do know that, right? You may not necessarily have the certifications, right? Because you're not going to be the one actually submitting the bids and things like that. But you still need to know how it works. You still need to be able to go find the opportunities and the companies. And then those companies need to, know how government contracting works as well, unless you're going to fulfill some of those things for them, right? So again, compensation, flat rate, how are you being paid? What part will you play? Okay. So the downside, what's the downside? Oh, I didn't put my stuff on do not disturb. So what's the downside? What do you think the downside is? If you know what the downside may possibly be, let me know in the chat. What's the downside? What do you think? Hey, Harmon. I see Harmon join. Welcome, welcome. There's no right or wrong answer. And it could just be based on your perspective. Maybe you've done this before and you saw a downside. Okay, so the downside could be you make this sandwich, right? You have the contracting opportunity. You're the middleman. You find the company to do the work. You put the deal together, meaning you put all parties together to make it happen. They're awarded the contract and you don't get paid. That's a downside. The other thing is you do this for a particular company. Maybe you do it a couple times for them or whatever, or maybe one time. And after that, they're like, I got this. I can do it on my own. They no longer need you, right? They can do it themselves. So now you have to go through this cycle of continuously finding companies that want to do this, meaning you bring them the deal and they pay you a finder's fee or some type of commission or whatever that is. They're going to give you a percentage of the money they make. Right. And so in order to do that, you're constantly having to find new companies to do that with. And then, of course, making sure they're set up, they have their certifications that they should have. They understand government contracting and all of that great stuff. And let's not even get into capacity and resources that they'll have to have as well. So that's a downside. The other downside is leaving money on the table. So if you're not doing any of the work, you're not self-performing, you're leaving money on the table for sure. Because even if they pay you a flat fee, whatever the profits are, you're getting no parts of that. Right? So is this making sense? Let me know in the chat if it's making sense. Put a 2 in the chat. And then I have one more thing to cover. And then we're going to open it up for Q&A. But is this making sense so far? This sandwich strategy, the middleman strategy that so many people are talking about. And a lot of people, they're doing it, I guess. It's quite possible. I mean, it works until it doesn't. Frederick says 2. Okay. Hey, Cherry says 2. So it's making sense. Okay. So if it is not for you, it's not making sense. You may have a question. So we're going to open it up for Q&A in a couple moments here. And so then ask your question around that. So we want to make sure you're clear on this middleman strategy, especially if it's something you're planning to do going into the new year. Okay. All right. So what's a great alternative to the middleman strategy? It's you doing the work yourself, right? You being the contractor, you're doing the work. So Pick something you're going to do. Like, what is your area of expertise? What are you doing in the private sector? You can take that and move it over to government contracting. Maybe you want to provide a product, so you're going to be a supplier. You could do that as well. Okay, so there's options. You don't have to actually provide a service to the government. They buy just about everything. All right, so if you can see, I got a light on here. They do that. They buy clothing. They buy everything. Okay, so you could provide a service. You could be a supplier. And then the great thing is you can sit in the prime position, and then your profits are higher sitting in the prime position. Now, you can also be a subcontractor too. So you can sub some of the work up under a prime, or you could be the prime and sub out some of the work. So even if you're looking at it and you're like, well, I'm looking at these opportunities, but I can't do all of the work myself. Maybe it's just you right now. That's fine. Then you can find subcontractors to sub some of the work out too. Okay. And then you can still sit in the prime position. That's the best position to be in, let me tell you, sitting in the prime position. And think about it like this. Say you're providing a service. Like I saw somebody said they're a trucking company. And then someone else said janitorial. So either or, that's what you provide. And maybe you don't do the work yourself per se, all of the work, right? But you know about it. You know how it works. And so you're the prime contractor. You get subcontractors to do the work, and you're going to oversee. So you're going to sit in the PM role, project manager, meaning making sure that the work is done. You know, you're adhering to the schedule, you're staying within budget, and you're providing a quality service. So you can do that as the prime. A lot of projects, when you're providing a service, especially we get into these larger projects, a lot of times we have to self-perform a certain percentage of the work ourselves. And sometimes that can be wrapped up in the project management position. So that is a great alternative. And it is a way that you stay on the upside and don't have to deal with the downside of maybe not getting paid or having to constantly find new companies and convince them that this is the way to go, because they're going to have their business set up in SAMs. They're going to have certifications that they qualify for, especially if they want to take advantage of the small business set asides. And so you would have to help them do those things if they don't know about it. And so that could be a repeat cycle that you have to go through, which means now your lead time is longer because they have to get those things in place before you can make the move to government contracting. And trust me, I've had clients that I worked with where they were moving from the private sector to the government sector, and they were like, yes, I want to get into government contracting, but keep in mind they're doing work in the private sector, so they're doing okay. And they drag their feet like it's not that urgent. And so if you don't get them over to government contracting and set up to be able to do the work, then you're still not making any money until you make that happen. So that's something else to consider, a downside. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to share that with you guys here today. Give you guys some things to think about going into this holiday. So if you have any questions on this, go ahead. You can start popping those into the chat and I will answer your questions. So Ken, if I see you have a question, you said, how can that happen? I'm not sure at what point, what question you're asking. So yeah, if you have a question at this point, go ahead and type it in the chat. And so if you kind of asked a question based on something I said, I don't know at what point you asked that question. So you may have to re-ask it and just give me a little bit more detail. Okay. So yeah. So here's the thing. Now, if you want to learn more about building your business as a government contractor with the federal government, I'm not selling anything here today, but I do have a free resource for you guys that you can grab. I'll give you two free resources today. So one is the 5 keys to your $1 million year. Most of the people that gravitate towards me, they're looking at building $1 million business. So that's what it's all about. And that's what I teach my clients. But I do have a free resource for you guys where it outlines the 5 phases that you will need to take your business through, what you need to have in place, things you'll need to execute on to make that happen. And so I do have that resource for you guys. Again, how to get to $1 million a year as a government contractor. And that's over at FeliciaStreeter.com/keys. And so I'll put that in the chat for you guys. Again, it's free resource, cost you nothing but your email to get it, because I have to email it to you. So there it is right there. All right. Kenneth, you said where you don't get paid. Okay, but what's your question? So remember, if I'm getting your question right, because I said that could be a downside, what I'm talking about is you could help put this deal together. The government is not paying you, right? This company that you help get this contract would be the person or company that pays you. And so you're dependent on them to pay you. And I've seen where it goes south sometimes, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's a free resource for you guys. So if you don't have that, I would say definitely get that. Bologna says, if you're operating as the prime/PM and not self-performing, is there a cap on how much you can sub out? So yeah, I kind of talked about that. Remember I said larger projects, it depends on the project. They'll tell you how much you have to self-perform. Okay, so that's if you're the prime and you're planning to provide a service, they'll tell you how much you have to self-perform. Sometimes and I'm just throwing numbers, but in the solicitation, it'll tell you it could be 25%. I think on most of ours, on the larger contracts, I think ours be like 25%, if I remember right. Maybe 25%, but that's a lot. And we're able to do that sitting in the PM role a lot of times. So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you can go to FeliciaStreeter.com/keys to get the free resource, or you can just go to my website, FeliciaStreeter.com, and you'll see it up there at the top. So that's how you can get the free resource. Someone was asking about that. Okay. Because I can't share my screen here. It don't let you do that. I might can show you on my iPad. Let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. Any other questions? While I'm doing that, let me show it to you. I can pull it up. Any other questions? What are you guys going to do going into the new year? What's your thing for government contracting? So here it is right here. The 5 keys to your $1 million years. Can you see it? There's a video. Am I showing it right? Okay. There we go. Yep. So it talks all about the 5 keys, what you're getting. Again, it's a free resource, costs you nothing. And right there, you just pop in your information and you'll get it. Okay. All righty. Any other questions? All right, let's see. Any other questions? Let's see. Do you work with DIBs? Yes, you can use DIBs. That's a resource. You can use, there's a lot of different sites you can go to find opportunities. Again, you have to start with knowing what you plan to offer. If you're going to, actually do it yourself. If you're going to do a middleman, you might just get out there and look at everything and see what you can find and just put something together. But if you have some type of direction, that's helpful. And then you can go out there and look. Larger contracts are going to be on sam.gov because it's required that it goes there. So it depends on what you're looking for, what size opportunities. I don't do a lot with those micro contracts. So I know some people may be looking for, and you're comfortable with starting at like a $5,000 contract, $10,000 contract, those smaller contracts. Nothing wrong with those. Those are cool. How you get to $1 million doesn't matter as long as you get there, right? If that's your goal. So it's up to you. It's your business. You decide. And then it also is based on your capacity and your resources that you have to perform as to what size contract you can do. So, yeah. So Latoya says, how long does it take to establish a relationship with the government? So when you say relationship, are you talking about with an individual or getting your government foundation set? Getting your government foundation set, I've had clients set everything up. You can do it in a day, really, if you just want to sit down and do it. And then at that point, you're just waiting on the government to provide your active SAM registration, and that's on them to do that. And that can take, a couple weeks, 21 days, something like that. Yeah. So why don't you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments on the middleman strategy. And then go ahead and share this video out to someone who would find it helpful. Do that. Those two things. Let me know what you think about the middleman strategy, and then definitely share this video out with someone that you feel it would be helpful for them. Okay. Any final questions before we wrap up? And then go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Like this video for me. All right. Any final questions? I tell you what, I am really, really excited going into the new year and government contracting, because I have some new things coming out top of the year. It's going to be really, really awesome on how you can work with me and my team getting into government contracting. So it's going to be great. And again, the resource that I gave you, I have one other resource. Let me give you this other. This is a training on get government contracts. So that's another free resource for you guys. Check those two out. Definitely check them out over the holiday, and you can start getting your business set up over the holiday. Okay. So is there a process in becoming the middleman and certifications? So no. Remember, we talked about that, and maybe you came on a little later, so I'm going to say circle back, watch the beginning of this video. But no, as the middleman, because you're not doing anything. You're just putting two people together, basically, or two companies together. They would have certifications if they're going to take advantage of the set-asides, and I kind of talked about that. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming to join me here live. Remember, you can still come back and comment on this if you have a question on it. Let me know your thoughts on the middleman strategy, or do you plan to self-perform some work? Let me know. Will you be a supplier, a service provider, or are you going to be the middleman? So let me know in the chat. And then also just let me know your thoughts and share this video out to someone you find helpful. And then for those of you that came live, again, thank you for coming to join me live. And then the replay viewers, if you could just let me know that you came and watched, just type replay in the chat or comments, and I'll know you joined us for the replay. All right. So you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Enjoy this holiday season. Get your business prepared for your $1 million year going into next year. And then remember, you're just one contract away. Bye for now.